Chinese athlete Eileen Gu hits back at Vance, who criticized her for not representing US. American-born Gu has a theory about why people talk about her choice to represent China. Winter Olympics champion Eileen Gu has responded to Vice President of the United States Vance after he hit out at her choice to represent China. Gu has been on a roll in the 2026 Milano Games, which saw her qualify at the halfpipe and also advance to the finals yesterday, February 21st, where she won gold. However, on February 19th, American-born Gu was questioned after the qualifiers about comments Vance made about her affiliation with China. Vance had said he thought a person who grew up in the US would want to compete with the United States. When asked about Gu in an interview with Fox News on Tuesday, February 17th, Vance said he has no idea what Gu's status should be. But I certainly think that somebody who grew up in the United States of America, who benefited from our education system, from the freedoms and liberties that make this country a great place, I would hope that they want to compete with the United States of America. He added, "So, I'm going to root for American athletes. I think part of that is people who identify themselves as Americans. That's who I'm rooting for in this Olympics." His words were brought up by reporters who asked her if she feels like a bit of a punching bag for a certain strand of American politics at the moment. "I do," Gu responded to reporters at the Games. "So many athletes compete for a different country. People only have a problem with me doing it because they kind of lump China into this monolithic entity and they just hate China. So, it's not really about what they think it's about." She went on to say, "People are more bothered about it because I win," explaining, "Like if I wasn't doing well, I think that they probably wouldn't care as much, and that's okay for me. People are entitled to their opinions." The 22-year-old responded to the VP's comments in a conversation with USA Today, saying, "I'm flattered. Thanks, JD. That's sweet." This comes after Gu defended American free skier Hunter Hess, after he revealed he didn't feel too comfortable representing the US in light of its current administration. To this, Donald Trump called him a real loser in a social media post. "As someone who's been caught in the crossfire before, I feel sorry for the athletes," Gu said. Gu was born in San Francisco, California to Yenu, a first-generation Chinese immigrant to the United States and an American father, and schooled at Stanford University. LA Bible reached out to the White House for comment. Eileen Gu, Between Two Worlds, an athlete's response to political fire. In the dramatic theater of the 2026 Milano Cortina Winter Olympics, amid the rush of snowflakes and the roar of cheering crowds, a different kind of storm has been unfolding, one rooted not in athletic performance, but in national identity, politics, and the meaning of representation. At the eye of the storm is Eileen Gu, the extraordinary freestyle skier whose graceful aerials and razor-sharp turns have not only earned her a place among the world's elite athletes, but also made her a focal point of cultural debate across continents. On the slopes, Gu's talent is undeniable. She is statistically and historically one of the most decorated female freestyle skiers in Olympic history. Off the slopes, however, the simplicity of medals and rankings dissolves into layers of personal choice, politics, and public expectation. A choice with weight, representing China. Born in San Francisco to an American father and a Chinese mother, Gujo enjoyed the privileges of elite training in the United States while maintaining deep cultural ties to China. In 2019, she made a decision that would shape both her career and her public narrative. She chose to compete internationally for China, the land of her mother's heritage, instead of the country of her birth. This decision, framed by Gu as a chance to inspire a new generation of young athletes in a nation where winter sports were far. In the high-stakes world where sports, identity, and politics collide, few athletes have stood at the center of global debate like Eileen Gu. Born in California to a Chinese mother and an American father, raised between San Francisco and Beijing, and educated at elite institutions while training on snow-covered peaks across continents, Gu has never fit into a single box. She is not just a freestyle skiing prodigy. She is a bridge, a symbol, and, whether she likes it or not, a lightning rod. When U.S. Senator J.D. Vance criticized her decision to represent China in international competition, the debate reignited with force. But what unfolded next was not a shouting match. It was something sharper, something quieter, something far more powerful. It was Eileen Gu striking back, not with anger, but with clarity. The rise of a global athlete. Before the politics, before the headlines, there was a girl on skis. Gu's ascent in freestyle skiing was meteoric. She trained relentlessly, mastering slopestyle, halfpipe, and big air. Her talent was undeniable. By the time the world gathered for the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, she had already become one of the most anticipated athletes of the Games. What followed stunned the world. 2 gold medals and 1 silver. Under immense pressure, on home snow, in front of 1 billion viewers, Gu delivered performances that were as fearless as they were technically brilliant. She soared above icy ramps not just as a competitor, but as a cultural phenomenon. Yet the applause was not unanimous. The decision that sparked a firestorm. When Gu announced she would compete for China rather than the United States, reactions ranged from admiration to outrage. For some Americans, it felt like betrayal. For many in China, it felt like validation. For Gu, it was something else entirely. It was personal. Gu has spoken often about her upbringing, spending summers in Beijing with her grandmother, speaking Mandarin at home, absorbing 2 cultures not as opposites, but as complements. To her, choosing China was not rejecting America, it was embracing a part of herself. But critics weren't interested in nuance. J.D. Vance, among others, framed her decision as emblematic of larger tensions between the U.S. and China. The implication was clear. In an era of geopolitical rivalry, loyalty must be singular. Allegiance must be absolute. Gu's response? She refused the premise. I'm not choosing against anyone. In interviews following the controversy, Gu maintained a composure that belied her age. She emphasized that sport has the power to unite. That identity can be led. That pride in one heritage does not require shame in another. She did not name-call. She did not escalate. Instead, she reframed. I'm not choosing against anyone, she suggested in essence. I'm choosing to represent the culture that shaped me. That distinction matters. To many young people growing up in multicultural families, Gu's stance resonated deeply. Identity in the 21st century is fluid, hyphenated, complex. The old model, one flag, one narrative, no longer fits millions of lived experiences. Gu did not apologize for that complexity. She embodied it. The economics of identity. Critics also pointed to the commercial dimension. Gu became one of the most sought-after endorsement figures in China, partnering with major global brands and appearing on magazine covers.